So now we're going to start creating our speed meter. The first thing we're going to need to do is import our assets. If you're following along and don't already have the assets downloaded, then pause the video now and click the link below to download the zip, then extract it somewhere on your PC. There are a few ways to import assets in Incari. You can drag files directly from your File Explorer into the Asset Manager panel. You can click the plus icon and navigate to your files. Or you can move assets using the Windows File Manager. To open the project's asset folder, right-click an asset and select Reveal. You can now drag all of the files and folders from the downloaded assets folder to your project folder. Now you'll see we have all of our assets listed in our Asset Manager. Here, we can change the view to icons or list, switch between the flat and folder tree views, we can search for assets in the search bar, and filter by asset type. Now we will drag this graphic called 1x1.png over into the scene view. This is a simple 1x1 pixel white non-transparent PNG. Because it is so small you might not see it. Make sure the grid is turned off and zoom in and you will see a small white square. If you look over to the left side in the scene outliner, you'll see that an object was created, called 1x1. This is a sprite, which is one of several object types in Incari, which each have different uses and functionality. To create an object, you can right-click inside the scene outliner, hover over Create, and then select an object from the list. You can also click the plus icon. Each object has its own set of editable characteristics or properties, which in Incari are referred to as attributes. To see the object's attributes, click on the object in the scene outliner, then look over at the attribute editor on the right. If we use our scroll wheel or the scroll bar to look at all the different attributes available, you will see that there are a lot of different fields which can be edited. I spoke in an early video about 3D coordinates in Incari. Every scene object has a set of attributes which define their transformation within 3D space. Under the transformation header, we see three sets of three numbers for the position, rotation, and scale of our object. We can adjust these attributes by clicking the up and down arrows next to the input field. We can also hover over the field and use our scroll wheel. And if you want to change the increment or step of the value adjustment, we can right-click and modify the amount which the value will increase and decrease by. Because our screen is 720 pixels by 720 pixels, and our PNG is 1 pixel by 1 pixel, we can scale it to a factor of 720 on both the X and Y axes. As we have a specific value in mind, we can simply type into the fields directly. We can also lock the values so that they are adjusted together by clicking this lock icon. If the link icon is activated, the ratio between the values will be maintained. Whereas if it's deactivated, the values will all be the same. As this is a 2D asset, it has no Z scale, so no matter what the value, it will never have any depth. Under the attributes category labelled Effects, there is a Tint attribute. We can now tint our asset using the various controls shown here. Or we can input values manually using hue, saturation, brightness, red, green, blue, alpha, or hex codes. Because I have a hex code for the background, I'm going to set this to 020412. The last attribute I want to draw attention to is under Sprite Sort Index. Users of traditional 2D design software will be familiar with the concept of layers. In 3D systems, the concept of layers doesn't make as much sense. If we have an object in front of another object, but below the object in the layers panel, then which one should be rendered on top of which? Similarly, if 2D objects are occupying the same position in 3D space, then we need a way to tell Incari and the rendering engine which order the layers should be rendered in. This is the reasoning behind the sort index attribute. This allows us to explicitly define the sorting order of assets, with lower numbers being below assets with a higher sorting order value. Because this is our background, we know that this will always be the lowest layer. So we can set this to -1. It could also be -1000 or even 1000. As long as the layers above it have a higher value, the result will be the same. Okay, so that's all for this video. Hopefully that wasn't too much to take in. And I'll see you in the next video where we'll put the rest of our graphics into the scene and take a look at the text object.